And this is a pretty interesting number we have for you now as we talk more about the economy. We've already been discussing the unemployment rate down last month, but the number of new jobs added to the economy, fewer than expected. So how does this impact young people trying to make it? Here's the stat. 36% of adults ages 18 to 31 still living with their parents last year. It's the highest percentage that we've seen people doing this in nearly 40 years. From Washington, D.C., Christy Setzer joins us, a former press secretary to Al Gore, and in St. Louis, it's Dana Loesch, co-founder of the St. Louis Tea Party, also radio talk show host. So it's great to have both of you. Christy, you first. Why do you think this is happening in terms of the reason for it, people living at home and moving back in with mom and dad so much?
Yeah, well, if you look at the numbers a little bit more closely, what you'll see is that the average person we're talking about is a 21, 22, maybe even 23-year-old who's graduated college, and they're looking at their parents' place as a bit of a way station before they enter the workplace. And the fact is that there's also some societal reasons for this happening, too.
Right.
When my mother graduated college in the 70s, she immediately that summer married my dad, moved in with him. A lot of their friends did the same. There's not so much of that anymore. People are waiting longer to get married. And some of these people are also still in school. They're waiting a little longer to get their degrees. Yeah,
interesting
and so
take, because you're saying, Christy's essentially arguing, Dana, that this is a choice. That's not because the economy is still weak. It's that people, you know, they want to do this. They want to move in with mom and dad. They want to save some money. They want to go to whatever it is, go to grad school, or like she says, they're not getting married as early. But is it a choice, do you think?
I don't really think it's a choice so much anymore. The group that I'm with, the Gateway Grassroots Initiative in St. Louis, one of the things that we've done is hear from a lot of millennials who feel like they don't really have a choice. And let's look at it this way, too, Connell. When Obamacare fully kicks in, these millennials are going to have even less of a choice, because you're talking about people who are the only last hope of Obamacare being solvent, which is why you see this administration having Hollywood going out and trying to sell Obamacare to these 2.7 million millennials that are going to be required to sign up for this in order to make this program solvent. I don't know anyone who is a millennial who has about $1,700 to $2,000 just lying around for premiums to pay for, you know, really unaffordable subpar government care. That's going to have an even greater impact, especially when you consider that 53% of college graduates cannot find a job. They spend all of this money getting these great degrees, going to graduate school, but then afterwards, what do they have to show for it? So it's going to get worse and worse as these policies kick in.
That is true, though, Christy, right? That a lot of people, I'm not sure that specific survey that Dana's citing with the 53%, but there are a number of people that do get out of college and would like to work that can. I mean, you would concede that point, that has something to do with an economy that's not growing the way we should. There's not everybody's choosing this. Not everybody wants to go back and live with their parents.
Absolutely, absolutely. There's certainly a number of people that are looking for a job as they get out of college and not finding them. And
is there something we should be talking about in terms of, hey, we need to help this group more, or let it work itself out? I'm sure you guys have different views on that, but you first, Christy.
Sure. Yeah, no, I mean, there's plenty, I think, that we should be doing for youth unemployment. But the fact is there's sort of this myth of the middle-aged guy who's, you know, throwing out his resume in frustration because he can't find a job, and he's leaving the workforce in droves. And the fact is that's not really the case. In fact, the number of people who are leaving the workforce right now is lower than it was after the 2001 election. It really is more what we're talking about here, which is the college student who is taking a little longer, a year or two, before they actually get into a job.
One other, one more point, Dana, before we wrap this up.
Yeah, that 53% that I cited, that was a USA Today poll, which was released last year, discussing the lack of employment with the youth. But yeah, we have a super high workforce participation low. That's why the unemployment numbers look the way that they are, because you have fewer people participating in the workforce. But the bottom line is, I feel bad for millennials. I'm kind of glad that I'm on the tail end of it, and I don't have to be faced with the choices that they have to be faced with right now.
Then we're all working, which is a good sign, I guess. Christy, Dana, good to see both of you. Thanks for coming on.
Thank you.
Good to be here.